Hare Krishna, good morning. Welcome to West London Temple morning program. We've had our beautiful Mangalati with our new Pujari, Dauji Prabhu. He's learning the puja and he's improving every day. And our worship of Tulsi Maharani, this beautiful devotee in the form of a tree plant. And then we had to try to get online, which is a little complicated, but we figured it out. Well, we didn't figure it out, Saraswati. And this is especially for Anjali Devidasi in Bournemouth, because yesterday we were busy and for one reason or another we didn't broadcast, and she was a little sad she couldn't see us in the morning. So we're thinking of her especially, and we're trying to make sure that we can have the camera on every morning for those devotees and friends who want to come and hear. I have no idea what the sound sounds like. I don't know how close this microphone has to be. Does it have to be close? I mean, I have no idea. It's good. Where is Gaura Hari Prabhu when you need him? Kaha Gingerino Prabhu. We used to sing that in Italy. Hare Krishna. Okay. Maybe we can sing one more song. Okay. And please feel free to join in at home. If you have your songbook, they're all available to download online in PDF or EPUB. You can have it on your phone, you can have it on your tablet, or you can get a real paper copy and have that. Let's sing Bhajare Bhajare Amma. Nice, traditional, beautiful morning song. Remember Bhajan Giti, the song of worship. Bhajan Giti, and remembering so many devotees, because we know we sing Vaishnavera Namate Ulasa in this Dana Mora Nityananda song, that the names of the devotees are my happiness. And then we saw that yesterday. We see that all the time. We saw that yesterday when we're flicking through the screens of the Zoom parikram, and we're seeing all our sweet family members, and we're saying, "Oh, here is so and so," and "Oh, look, there's someone else." Just seeing the name, what to speak of the sweet face of the devotees, gives us happiness to see our wonderful family around the world. So here we're singing we're singing inconceivably about our family. These are also our divine family by the grace of Sri Guru and Gauranga. Then we can count these wonderful personalities as also our senior family members. Huh? Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. It's so amazing that we can say, "Oh yes, Gadadhar Prabhu." You know, these are our family members. Bhajare Bhajare Amma Manati Manda. Bhajare Bhajare Amma Manati Manda. Bhajandina Gatina Re Bhajandina Bhajavane Radha Krishna Bhajandina Gatina Re Radha Krishna Bhajandina Gatina Re Bhajavane Radha Krishna Charanaravinda Radha Krishna Charanaravinda Yanaka Gauranga Radhara Dvaita Guru Nityananda Gauranga Radhara Dvaita Guru Nityananda Gaura Krishna Abhijayane Gaura Krishna Abhijayane Guru Krishna Priya Jane Gaura Krishna Abhijayane Krishna Priya Jane Gaura Krishna Abhijayane Srinivasa Hari Dasa Murari Mukunda Srinivasa Hari Dasa Murari Mukunda Gaura Preme Smara Smara Re Gaura Preme Smara Srinivasa Hari Dasa Gaura Preme Smarare Sahari Dase Gaura Preme Smarare Upasana Tana Jiva Raghunatha Dhanva Upasana Tana Jiva Raghunatha Dhanva Jadi Bhajan Kobere Jadi Bhajan Kobere Upasana Tani Smaran Jadi Bhajan Kobere Upasana Tani Smaran Jadi Bhajan Kobere Ragama Gopala Bhatta Swarupamananda Gopala Bhatta Swarupamananda Krishna Prema Jadi Chaore Krishna Prema Jadi Chaore Swaruparamanande Smara Krishna Prema Jadi Chaore Ramanande Smara Krishna Prema Jadi Chaore Gosti Sakana Pura Senchivananda Gosti Sakana Pura Senchivananda Ajasra Smara Smara Re Ajasra Smara Smara Gosti Sahasen Shivanande Ajasra Smara Re Gosti Sahasen Shivanande Ajasra Upanuga Sarujana Vajana Nanda Sarujana Vajana Nanda Vrajevasyari Chaore Vrajevasyari Chaore Rupanuga Sarujane Smaran Vrajevasyari Chaore Rupanuga Sarujane Smaran Vrajevasyari Chaore Rupanuga Sarujana Vajana Nanda Sarujana Vajana Nanda Bhajare Bhajare Ama Amana Atimanda Bhajare Bhajare Ama Anavatimanda Bhajare Bhajare manati manda vajare vajare manati manda. Gouda Premanande, Gouda Gouda. Jai, all the devotees. Sarvashada Mahaprabhu ki jai, Sarvashada Shri Prabhu ki jai. So, in the divine remembrance, Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. So, we shall continue at least a little with our reading of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in the very first chapters, the second chapter we're in, and Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is setting the stage, building the foundation of just who he's going to be talking about, writing about in this book. And we came in the last couple of days to the famous verse, Vedanti tat tat bhavidas, that the supreme absolute truth is non-dual substance. It's one, but expresses itself or shows itself in three different ways, as the Brahman effulgence and the localized Paramatma, and then finally and most beautifully as Bhagavan, as the Lord himself, his personal feature. And then we heard a verse which is now being gone into in quite some detail. Thanks, Devi. Quite some detail from Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'll have to go back to that one just so we can remember what it is we're talking about. Which was from, let me see where it was from. It was from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So from the first canto of that literature, which was also similarly setting the stage, giving us some indication of the nature of reality, the beautiful. And that verse was, all these incarnations of Godhead that have been described are either plenary portions, that means like a full part, or a part of a plenary portion of the Purusha avatars, which are one set of incarnations for some specific reason. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. In every age, he protects the world through his different features when the world is disturbed by the enemies of Indra. So this verse is being sort of elaborated on, taken word for word, and that's where we are now. If I can find where we were. Okay, so we'll just read through this. I am not a scholar, I am not a logician or a grammarian or any of those things. But Krishnadas Kaviraj knows all these things, and Mahaprabhu himself knows all these things. So we're hearing that. So he's talking about that verse we just heard, and now he's going by the word for word. Ete shabde avatarena age anuvada purushera angsa pachi vidaya sangvada. First, the word ete, these, establishes the subject, the incarnations. Then plenary portions of the Purusha avatars follows as the predicate. Ch.Ch Krishna avatara vitara haila gyata tara vishera jnana se avigyata. In the same way, when Krishna was first counted among the incarnations, specific knowledge about him was still unknown. Ataiva Krishna Shabde Age Anuvada Svayam Bhagavata Piche Videya Sangvada. Therefore, first the word Krishna appears as the subject, followed by the predicate describing him as the original personality of Godhead. Krishna Svayam Bhagavata Iya Kaila Sadhya Svayam Bhagavanera Krishnatva Haila Vadya. This establishes that Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. The original personality of Godhead is therefore necessarily Krishna. Okay, Hare Krishna. Krishna yadi angsa haite angsi narayana tabe viparita haite sutara vachana. Had Krishna been the plenary portion and Narayan the primeval Lord, the statement of Sutta Goswami would have been reversed. So that was the specific point that he's addressing, that, was what we hear, what you would hear if you pick up a book of Hinduism in the library, most probably, that, Vishnu has many incarnations, of which Krishna is one. Well, Kaviraj Swami is just dismantling that. And that can be found in many places, but he's using this verse and this way to show that. Narayana angsi ye svayam bhagavan dana Shri Krishna ache karita vyakyayan. Thus he would have said, Narayan, the source of all incarnations, is the original personality of Godhead. He has appeared as Sri Krishna. Brahma, Pramada, Vipralipsa, Karana Patava, Asha Vigyo Vakya Nahi Dosha Eshava. Mistakes, illusions, cheating, and defective perception do not occur in the sayings of the authoritative sages. And Guru Maharaj talks about that very beautifully when he's talking about what is Veda, and how it's or divine sound that's coming from the heart of the devotee, that it's coming from the land of no suspicion and absolute, of clean, wonderful sweetness. So there's no question of cheating. So what comes is just, it's it. There's no, Guru Maharaj says, there's no rhyme or reason for it. This is it. Veda means no. It doesn't mean, listen, I'll try and talk you into something. It's just, this is how it is. But our unfortunate position is that we're full of suspicion, because we live in the land of suspicion, in the plane of misconception. And Guru Maharaj says how unfortunate and sad it is, and distasteful, and that it's like a child being offered a sweet by his mother and thinking, oh, maybe I can't take the sweet, maybe my mother's poisoned it. So how sad is that? And that is our position, in the plane of suspicion and miscalculation. So what comes from the mouth of the Vaishnava, mistakes, illusions, cheating, and defective perception do not occur in the sayings of the authoritative sages. And the word there is a word I don't know, arsha. Is that word that Goswami was talking about yesterday? He was talking about a word that sounded a bit like that. Anyway, Hare Krishna. Okay, so he's continuing with writing Krishna Das Kaviraj. Virudata kaha tumi kahite kararosha tomara ata avingrishta vidyangsa dosha. You say something contradictory, You say something contradictory and become angry when this is pointed out. Your explanation has the defect of a misplaced object. This is an unconsidered adjustment. Yara Bhagavata Haite Anyara Bhagavata Svayam Bhagyavan Shabdera Tahate Shata. Only the personality of Godhead, the source of all other divinities, is eligible to be designated Swayam Bhagavan, or the primeval Lord. Oh, and the next sloka is that sloka that you were mentioning just the other day. Deepa Haite Yache Bahu Dipara Jvalana Mula Eka Deepa Taha Karya Ganana. When from one candle many others are lit, I consider that one the original. That's from Brahma Samhita. It's taken from Brahma Samhita. Oh no, so of course it isn't, but he's referring, Srila Prabhupada's referring in the purport to the 46th verse of Brahma Samhita that states that Vishnu Tattva, or the principle of the absolute personality of Godhead, is like a lamp, because the expansions equal their origin in all respects. A burning lamp can light innumerable other lamps that are not inferior, but still one lamp must be considered the original. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead expands himself in the plenary forms of the Vishnu Tattva. But although they are equally powerful, the original powerful personality of Godhead is considered the source. This example also explains the appearance of qualitative incarnations, like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Shambhu Tattva, or the principle of Lord Shiva, is like a lamp covered with carbon because of his being in charge of the mode of ignorance. The illumination from such a lamp is very minute. Therefore, the power of Lord Shiva cannot compare to that of the Vishnu principle. Hare Krishna. Everybody good?
Good.
I hope everyone's good at home too. We're not having a test today, so we're good. Sometimes we do, but not today. Hare Krishna. Ch.Ch Shaba avatarera Krishna se karana ara eka shloka shuna kuvyakya kandana. Krishna in the same way is the cause of all causes and all incarnations. Please hear another verse to defeat all misinterpretations. So now we're going back to the Srimad Bhagavatam. It actually appears to be 2 verses. Atrashago vishagas cha shtanam poshanamutayaha manvantare shanukata nirodha mukti ashrayaha dashamasya vishuddhatam navanam yalakshanam vanayanti mahatmanaha shutendatena chanjasa. Here in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10 subjects are described. 1, the creation of the ingredients of the cosmos. 2, the creations of Brahma. 3, the maintenance of the creation. 4, special favor given to the faithful. 5, impetuses for activity. 6, prescribed duties for the law-abiding men. 7, a description of the incarnations of the Lord. 8, the winding up of the creation. 9, liberation from gross and subtle material existence. And 10, the ultimate shelter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The 10th item is the shelter of all the others. To distinguish this ultimate shelter from the other 9 subjects, the Mahajans have described these 9 directly or indirectly through prayers or direct explanations. Krishna. It's a purport, but we'll go on. Ashraya janita kai e nava pradhata e navera utpati hetu se ashrayata. To know distinctly the ultimate shelter of everything that be, I have described the other 9 categories. The cause for the appearance of those 9 is rightly called their shelter. Krishna eka sarva shraya, Krishna sarva dharma, Krishna ra sharira sarva vishvara vishrama. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna is the shelter and abode of everything. All the universes rest in his body. And I can't stop thinking of what she said it so nicely. In Australia yesterday. Dina Tarani. She spoke so nicely, and she said she was talking about first hearing from Guru Maharaj and coming to Guru Maharaj. And she said, and when I heard that Guru Maharaj saying that the environment is your friend, I just felt so relieved and so happy, because I'd come to understand that the environment is out, is Maya, and is out to get you, and it's, to be like that. And suddenly a transformation in vision, not that we underestimate that power, but that we've been taught to see it in a different way. How beautiful, really. You could feel in her voice that she was telling the truth. She was saying how she felt. That sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it? Like normally she's telling Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes, she was, it was from the heart, is what I She was telling it from the heart. So, anyway, I thought of that because here, Kaviraj Goswami is saying the personality of God, Sri Krishna, is the shelter and abode of everything. Everything rests in him. And then he's quoting another verse. Now we've gone on to the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Dasha me dashamang lakshyam ashvitashraya vigraham Shri Krishna kyam param dharma jagadharma namani tat. The 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam reveals the 10th object, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the shelter of all surrendered souls. He is known as Sri Krishna, and he is the ultimate source of all the universes. Let me offer my obeisances unto him. Krishna Rasvarupa Ara Shakti Raya Jnana Yara Haya Tana Nahi Krishnete Agyana. One who knows the real feature of Sri Krishna and his 3 different energies cannot remain ignorant about him. So we're hearing about him. Whether we understand it or not is something differently, but we are hearing from the Lord himself. Krishna Svarupera Haya Sadvida Vilasa Prabhava Vaibhava Rupe Dvivida Prakasha. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna enjoys himself in 6 primary expansions. His 2 manifestations are Prabhava and Vaibhava. And Srila Prabhupada says, now the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita turns to a description of the personality of Godhead Krishna in his innumerable expansions. The Lord primarily expands himself in 2 categories, namely Prabhava and Vaibhava. The Prabhava forms are fully potent like Sri Krishna, and the Vaibhava forms are partially potent. The Prabhava forms are manifested in relation with potencies, but the Vaibhava forms are manifested in relation with excellences in Krishna. Hare Krishna. The potent Prabhava manifestations are also of two varieties, temporary and eternal. The Mohini, Hamsa, and Shukla forms are manifested only temporarily in terms of a particular age. Among the other Prabhavas who are not very famous, according to the material estimation, are Dhanvantari, Rishabha, Vyasa, Dattatreya, and Kapila. Among the Vaibhava Prakash forms are Kurma, Matsya, Nara Narayan, Varaha, Hayagriva, Prishnigava, Baladeva, Yagya, Vibhu, Satyasena, Hari, Vaikunta, Ajita, Vamana, Sarvabhauma, Rishabha, Vivakshena, Dharma Setu, Sudama, Yogeshwara, and Priyad Bhanu. And that Baladeva is not Baladeva, the brother of Krishna. There's others called Govinda, there's others called with the similar names or the same name, but it's not Swayam Bhagavan. Many expansions. Infinite, sweet, simple complexity. Something like that. It's all sweet and wonderful, but for the human brain, it's not possible and it's not necessary. But Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is writing the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he needs absolutely to establish, we are talking about, Svayam Bhagavan. This literature is inconceivably more than Swayam Bhagavan, actually. It's very refined, and it's that part of the Lord himself that he does not know and has to become the devotee, to relish that. Inconceivable. So he's, with shlokas and with all these precise, siddhantic methods, he's laying it down. This is what we're talking about. For those who are that way inclined, the scholars of India or those kinds of personalities. So, in much the same way as Jiva Goswami did. I mean, Jiva Goswami is the king of that, you can say. That was his service, one of his principal services. And interestingly enough, when we're hearing from Gurudev and Guru Maharaj, they're not so much quoting from those things, the Sandarbhas and everything else. Sometimes, no doubt, and the position of Jiva Goswami is unparalleled again. His particular service and qualities, but for the devotees, then we don't, like, I'm just compiling all these slokas on the walls of Vrindavan, of which there's many, and many are we could say, simple shlokas from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and of course the Shikshastakam is there, and all the shlokas of the Upadeshamrita there, inside or outside. And then there's slokas from, Krishna Karnamrita, which probably wouldn't be there if they were in English, but they're in Sanskrit that nobody can read, so they're there in Sanskrit. And I think maybe there's one from Jiva Goswami, I don't know. So, all these things have their place for particular purpose. And so that's why this is, and it's reminding me a little bit. In Italy we were sort of coming towards the end of Sanatana Goswami, Mahaprabhu instructing Sanatana Goswami in Varanasi Kashidham, and that's very similar in many ways. In the beginning, anyway. In the beginning, it's all all this, and then eventually it comes to the, and his forehead is like a half moon, and his cheeks are like more moons, and pearl on his nose is like another moon, and the garlands on his ears are like this, and it just goes. Then we go to Maduram, Maduram, Bapuasya Vibhu, Maduram, Maduram, Vadanam, Maduram, Madugandhi, Mudidu, Smitadetan, Ho, Maduram, 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 Maduram. Then we go there, he takes us there. And this, for the devotees, we're just bowing our heads to these. His inconceivable wonders and expansions and play. So we've heard about we heard that he has 6 primary expansions and 2 manifestations, Prabhava and Vaibhava, and then Kaviraj Goswami. Oh, it's actually 8 o'clock. Okay, well, so we'll just have this last one. Angsa Shaktya Vesharupe Dvi Vidhavatara Balya Pauganda Dharma Dui To Prakara. His incarnations are of 2 kinds, namely partial and empowered. He appears in 2 ages, childhood and boyhood. And Srila Prabhupada says the Vilas forms are 6 in number. Incarnations are of 2 varieties, namely Shaktivesh, empowered, and Angshavesh, partial. These incarnations also come within the category of Prabhava and Vaibhava manifestations. Childhood and boyhood are 2 special features of the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. But his prominent feature is his eternal form as an adolescent youth. The original personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, is always worshipped in this eternal adolescent form. Jai Shri Krishna ki Jai Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai Jai Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. We heard more wonderful pastimes yesterday or the day before, I think the day before, when we were in the Prabhupada's Bhajan Kutir in the Radha Damodar temple, and we were hearing so many wonderful glories of this, of who Guru Maharaj said was Shaktivesh Avatar, of Nityananda Prabhu, how and we've heard this from those devotees involved, all our American uncles and aunties, who, in the production of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, like 18 volumes in 18 months or whatever. I mean, it was just insane. And when you hear, Hasapriya or Dikshavati or Pushtakrish, any of those devotees talking who were there at that time, just telling what a insane, ecstatic, transcendental, exhausting wave of divine energy coming through Srila Prabhupada, with them, falling asleep at their desks, and the painting department trying to paint the pictures in time to put them in the book, and then the devotees waiting for them, and then that volume would be finished, and they'd ship it off to New York and this place and that place, and the devotees would be up all night reading the books and then taking them out to try and sell them to get the money for the next volume. It's always so enlivening and wonderful to hear those stories. So, the history of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, how it came to us in English, and we're fortunate to have these wonderful, sweet devotees as our family members who were, we can say instrumental, or were involved in that service endeavor that we now kind of take for granted. It's on the shelf, and we take it. Well, it wasn't on the shelf, and then 100 years ago, it wasn't really on any shelf. It was called out, or came to the devoted heart of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who gave it to the world, we can say. So, and then Srila Prabhupada, who translated it to English. Hare Krishna. So, oh Pandita, I don't think you sang yet today, did you? No. Okay. Oh, the show. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Nama Gopala Govinda Rama Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopina Kamara Premanande Hari Hari Bo, Jai Saprakashishi Guru Gauranga, Radha Giridhari Ju ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Nimalachaja Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Srila Gurudev Srila Govinda Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Srila Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Jai, Shri Rupanuga Guru Bhaga ki Jai, Jai Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna Shri London, West London, Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki Jai. All the London devotees ki Jai. All the world devotees ki Jai. Have a happy day full of service and wonderful things ki Jai. Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. Which button is it on there? That top button.